In 2022, my business more than doubled, bringing in multiple 8 figures in revenue while I took 1/3 of the year off. That means we literally just had our biggest year ever while I actually worked the least I've ever worked. So if you want to know how to potentially double your business, how to do multiple 8 figures per year, and maybe even do it while working less, well then hang with me because here's the top 3 lessons that made that possible.
This is my man, Yala Kanai. Yala Kanai, he takes entrepreneurs on a journey to grow their business.
Number 1, staying power is greater than growing power. I'm not saying that it's easy to grow a business. I am saying that it's easier to get on top than it is to stay on top. Businesses enter the marketplace all the time with a brand new product, offer, or service. And if they've got decent marketing and sales chops, then they can take up decent market share fairly quickly because they have a fresh and exciting offer. But no business can outrun its reputation in the long run. That means if you want to stay in business, it's really the ability to create a great product and great client results, which means being willing to solve problems that your competitors aren't willing to solve, either because they're too complex, too difficult, or they just take up too many resources. As an example, 3 of my biggest competitors this year fell out of the marketplace completely and 1 shrunk. That means potentially part of our growth this year is sheerly the result of outlasting our competition. So, plainly put, if you want to win early, it takes great marketing and sales. But if you want to win long, it takes a great product. Number 2, culture is greater than compensation. Listen, it's no secret that the way that we were able to double this year while I worked less is because I have a great team. And the value of having a great team can't possibly be overstated. At the same time, when it comes to building a great team, there's lots of talk out there about the importance of offering competitive wages, but far less talk about the importance of creating great culture. On my team, we haven't lost a team member in 4 years. Let that sink in for a moment. That's not to say that we've kept everybody. We've definitely had to let some people go that weren't a good fit. But plainly put, when people join our team, they want to stay. And part of that is because years ago, I became very intentional about creating great culture. Partially because I realized that if the only way that we could compete for talent in the marketplace was to offer competitive wages, well then we were going to be inherently limited. We don't necessarily charge the highest prices for what we offer, and because of our obsession with customer results, we don't necessarily have the best margins. But my theory was that if we created great culture, then eventually the word about that would spread, and people from other companies would want to come over. And so here's what's happened. We now have people on our team that have been offered better compensation elsewhere, and yet they've chosen to stay with us. And this year, we've even begun acquiring talent from other bigger corporations with bigger benefits packages and better compensation, and yet they're joining our team because it turns out people want to be happy and fulfilled just as much as they want to be paid. And if you're not intentional about the culture that you're going to create, well then unintentionally, your team is going to create it for you, and chances are you aren't going to like it. So don't underestimate the value of creating great culture and how attractive that can become to talent that's out there in the marketplace. In terms of what secrets we've used to create great culture, I'm not sharing that just yet, but maybe someday soon I'll write a book on that. Number 3, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. And in my opinion, this is easily the most valuable of all of these lessons, so stick with me. There's lots of entrepreneurs out there that are hyper-focused on urgency and moving quickly, and I get it. At the same time though, I think generally speaking, it's far wiser to move smoothly instead. So let me rewind a bit, give you some context so you can understand how I came to that conclusion. I used to be very focused on fast growth. I mean, we went from 0 to $1 million a month in revenue in 4 months. We closed out our first calendar year, 2017, just shy of $20 million in sales. So I know a bit about fast growth. But as we turned the corner to 2018, I started to notice some things. Primarily that if we didn't make a change, we would eventually start losing customers at the same rate which we were acquiring them. At that point, we would basically just be a dog chasing its tail. In other words, going back to my original lesson, we had growing power, but we did not have staying power. And so some changes needed to be made. The first thing that I did is split with my business partner because he was brilliant, but we just had very different visions of what needed to change in the business. And that took the better part of a year. As soon as that was over though, I began to scale back the team and scale back the revenue so that we could get hyper-focused on the systems and processes and building a solid foundation for the business. We spent the next 2 years on that alone. And then all of a sudden, an interesting thing happened. In 2021, we grew by 50%, but without even really trying. It's not like we were spending a ton more on ads or trying to change a bunch of things in our sales process. It happened as a result of our operational efficiency. Going into 2022, I set a goal for us to grow by another 50%. Well, We more than doubled. And we doubled without burning out a bunch of the team members, without a bunch of systems and processes breaking, and without customers falling through the cracks, which are typically things that happen when a business starts scaling. And so this has led me to the conclusion that we are really primed and ready with a solid foundation for us to potentially double down again on our growth. And more importantly, it's allowed us to also outlast our competitors, like I was saying earlier in lesson 1. So in my opinion, smart entrepreneurs move quickly, but wise entrepreneurs move smoothly. So listen, I hope you got value out of this video, my friend. And if you're somebody who is smart, ambitious, and committed to success in life and in business, well then make sure you subscribe and hit that little bell notification so you get notified every week when I drop more content like this. And in case we've never met before, my name is Keala Kanai. I'm an entrepreneur that got started a few short years ago while working in a coffee shop for minimum wage, and I've gone on now to build multiple 7- and 8-figure businesses. And I say that so that you know that everything I share on my channel comes from the real world knowledge of things I've learned and applied that have helped me create those results, and I share them here in hopes that they help you create similar results as well. So go ahead and subscribe, hit that little bell notification, and make sure that you watch the next video that's about to pop up, where I'm gonna go much deeper on topics like this for you. I'll see you there.